This is the 23rd Annual Maine Women's Hall of Fame celebration on Saturday, March 17, 2012, at Jewett Hall at the University of Maine at Augusta. Silver tea and registration from 1 to 2 p.m. Induction ceremony at 2 p.m. honoring Mary Farrar and Ruth.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm Rhonda Crossan, co-president, along with Susan Tardy, of the Maine Business and Professional Women and a trustee of the Futurama Foundation. Maine Business and Professional Women is a statewide organization with the vision to advocate for successful work environments that are equitable and provide work-life balance for all women. We have worked with our Maine and U.S. members of Congress and senators on issues pertaining to our vision. We have several locals throughout the state working at the local level. Welcome to this annual event to honor distinguished women. And thank you all for attending. And with the contributions, we are able to support women so that they may educate themselves, which is also a part of the Maine Business and Professional Women's mission. The mission of BPW Maine is to empower working women to achieve their full potential through advocacy, information, and education. As an Uptown BPW member, we were honored to have Ruth at several times as a speaker at our local. She is well deserving of this recognition. And Mary, I regret I have not met you, but you are an inspiration to us all. Congratulations, Mary and Ruth, and thank you all for what you have done and all that you will continue to do.
On behalf of the University of Maine at Augusta, I would also like to welcome you once again to our campus as we get ready to induct into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame two new members, Mary Farrar and Ruth Lockhart. You will be hearing about their accomplishments later in the program, but as the person who nominated Mary, if I might just say now to Mary how awestruck I am of the work you do and have done and the great respect that you have earned. I feel privileged to have submitted your nomination. My sincere congratulations also to Ruth Lockhart for your very deserved recognition today. And finally, I want to say how proud I am of UMA's role in co-sponsoring this annual event, hosting it, and of course, being the home of the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. Partially, I'm proud because who wouldn't want to be the home of the Maine Women's Hall of Fame? But mostly I am proud because so many of our students here at UMA are women trying to turn their lives around, trying to do something meaningful for themselves, their families, and their communities. I like to think that the photos of the Maine Women's Hall of Fame inductees that are prominently displayed at the Cates Library next door may serve for some of our students as a beacon of hope for what women can attain with drive, intelligence, perseverance, and vision. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Marie Saucier, president of the Maine Business and Professional Women's Futurama Foundation. I'm the third branch of what helps bring this program together every year. And I would love to express welcome to our two new inductees, Ruth and Mary, and I look forward to hearing about your accomplishments from both of you. From what I read in the bios, we are going to be wowed, and I'm wowed every year that we keep continuing to find such great women. And there are a few previous inductees out there, so this is just a great tribute to women, and I'm so glad to be part of it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Happy St. Patrick's Day. As chair of the Maine Women's Hall of Fame, I would like to welcome all of you to our 23rd annual Maine Women's Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We are pleased that so many could join us today,
and it was great not to have to worry about the weather. A couple of years we've had kind of snowing outside, and it hasn't been that much fun. First of all, I would like to thank the representatives of our three co-sponsors for their opening greetings and welcoming everyone here. Rhonda Crossan, who is co-president of DPW Maine, Dr. Allison Hughes-Handley, who is president of the University of Maine at Augusta, and Marie Saucier, who is president of the DPW Maine Futurama Foundation. Each year, this special ceremony honoring women has been held at the University of Maine here in Augusta during the month of March in observance of Women's History Month. During the 23 years, the University of Maine at Augusta has generously provided the site for our display of photos and citations for each honoree. If you haven't seen the display over in the library, please stop in at some point and see it. It's really getting impressive now with the number of women that are in our Hall of Fame. We hope that each of you sign in at the registration table so we have a complete record of today's attendance, and that you signed our guest book. We are pleased that some of our previous inductees plan to attend today, and would each of you please stand as I read your name and remain standing so that we can all extend our appreciation to you for all your achievements and contributions. Sharon Barker. Lois Galgay-Rickett. Eloise Bartelli. Have I missed anyone? I saw the three of you. I just like to make sure that we welcome you. So thank you for joining us again today. This time you can kind of relax, at least all but Sharon, because she's kind of got herself into it by nominating another deserving woman to be in the Hall of Fame. So we're pleased that you do that. And now I would like to begin with program. If you look at your program booklet, you see that we were supposed to be starting with the Honorable Paul LePage, Governor of the State of Maine. Until yesterday, I assumed he was coming, got a phone call that he was not going to be here, and he did not send a representative to read his remarks. But we are really pleased to have with us again this year our Honorable Michael Mishu, Member of Congress, who has joined us several years now for the induction ceremonies. Would all of you please help me welcome Representative Mishu?
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be back here once again to welcome the inductees to the Women's Hall of Fame. Actually, Maine has a unique distinction that some of you might know about it, some might not. Actually, Maine's congressional delegation is the only congressional delegation in the country where a male is in the minority. So I hold that distinction proudly. So we're very proud of the delegation and what it's been able to do. I do want to thank all of you for having me here today. It is a great pleasure to be here with you on such a lovely afternoon. I also want to congratulate this year's inductees, Ruth and Mary. I'm honored to have an opportunity to congratulate you both on what you have done for the people here in the state of Maine. Ruth, the work that you have done in advance to the field of women in health in Maine is remarkable and is truly deserving this special recognition as well. Your efforts to expand health and education service, as well as your success in generating awareness about critical women's health issues, have touched the lives of countless families throughout our state. Through your advocacy, you have made Maine a safer place for our mothers, wives, and daughters. I want to thank you very much for that. And Mary, your recognition as a tireless advocate on behalf of the victims of criminal violence is very much deserved. It was with some sadness that I learned of your retirement last October, but I know your influence and your achievements will continue to endure. The countless lives that you have touched through your compassion and support speaks to the significant contributions you have made to our state. The protections you helped enact on behalf of seniors, and your role promoting a greater awareness of victims' rights have earned you Maine's admiration and respect. Both Mary and Ruth, I want to thank you once again for all that you have done over the years, and congratulations also for earning this momentous honor. Before I go, though, I would be remiss if I did not recognize Sally Ann Parks in the Maine Women's Hall of Fame itself. I want to thank you for your leadership and your recognitions and contributions of Maine outstanding women leaders. Keep up the great work. We have a lot of work that we have to do, and I look forward to continuing working with you together as we make sure that we move forward on women's issues. Once again, thank you very much, and congratulations to both of you today. Thank you.
Thank you again very much for joining us today and your always special remarks. We appreciate you taking time to be with us. And now we are pleased that United States Senator Olympia Snowe prepared letters to be read today, and her staff assistant, Renee Goodwin, will now read her remarks. Let us welcome her.
Greetings. I didn't wear green. I'm sorry.
There's green in your pen. There's a little green in your pen.
Well, so there is. Good eyes. I've been coming to this event for 11 years representing Senator Snowe. And it occurred to me when Congressman Michaud was speaking that this is going to be my last time representing Senator Snowe. But that doesn't say I can't come and attend this on my own, which I would be delighted to do. Anyway, she did send along some words for me to share with you. Dear friends, please accept my warmest greetings and very best wishes as you gather for the 23rd Annual Maine Women's Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I'm deeply grateful for the opportunity to participate in this year's tradition. The Maine Women's Hall of Fame provides an apt and much-needed forum for recognizing and celebrating the women who embody the ideals of this prestigious honor. The award recognizes those who have had an immeasurable impact on our state, has significantly improved the lives of Maine women, and perhaps most importantly, whose achievements have had and continue to have a profound and lasting value for women. This year's inductees, longtime victim witness advocate Mary Farrar and co-founder of the Mabel Wadsworth Center, Ruth Lockhart, certainly exemplify those principles. Throughout their lives, both Mary and Ruth have blazed inspiring trails, which remind us that regardless of gender, we can seize our visions and transform them into our legacies. I'm pleased to join with their families, friends, and colleagues in expressing my appreciation for all of their contributions to the women of Maine. As a Maine Women's Hall of Fame 1999 inductee, it's remarkable to reflect upon the myriad and innumerable achievements that members of the Hall of Fame have accomplished. And indeed, that's what makes the Women's Hall of Fame so relevant and vital. It gives girls and women a compass by which to chart their own course for greatness. It proves that our horizon can be as wide and as bright as we can possibly make them. Today, as we recognize both Mary Farrar and Ruth Lockhart, we also pay tribute to the Women's Hall of Fame for 23 years of extraordinary commitment to celebrating women who have made a substantial difference in our state. I commend you for your remarkable legacy of success. Sincerely, Olympia J. Snowe, United States Senator. Thank you very much. And congratulations, both of you.
Thank you very much for reading her letter. We appreciate all that she has done, and are sorry that she is no longer going to be our senator come the new year. And you are certainly welcome to come again yourself. Just please give me your home address. Because I can't reach you at your office again for another year. Oh, sorry. You brought it up. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, and we are now pleased to hear from United States Senator Susan Collins, who also has prepared letters, and her staff assistant, Michelle Michaud, We'll read them, and please help us welcome Michelle Mitchell.
Thank you, Sally. Unlike Rennie, I did wear green today. Lots of it. But truly, I'm going to miss my good friend. She's just one floor below me in the same office building, and we're all going to miss a good Senator Snow, and I'm especially going to miss my good friend Rennie Goodwin on a daily basis. I know where she lives, though. I can still go harass her. Senator Collins obviously couldn't be here today, and I'm honored to be here to represent her and read her letter that she prepared for you today. Senator Collins writes, "Thank you for the kind invitation to join you in celebrating the 23rd Annual Maine Women's Hall of Fame induction ceremony. As a member of the Hall of Fame myself, it is a great honor to congratulate this year's inductees, Ruth Lockhart and Mary Farrar. I am delighted to share my best wishes as you pay tribute to the great women of our state, women whose achievements, sacrifices, and contributions have made such an important difference in the lives of so many. Ruth Lockhart has devoted her life and career to expanding accessibility of health care to women. As the executive director and founder of the Mabel Wadsworth Women's Health Center, she has helped her community through her tireless devotion to the cause of women's health. Other examples of her leadership include the coordination of AIDS and sexual health and reproduction education for the University of Maine Women's Health Services, and organizing many and unique and important women's health conferences which focus on topics including diabetes, menopause, and women with AIDS. Ruth is known nationally and throughout Maine for her commitment, her courage, and dedication to women's health issues. Mary Farrar has dedicated her life to supporting victims of crime and sexual assault, as well as their families, through advocacy and education. In addition to the education she provides to the victims and their families about their rights, Mary has served as a member of numerous elected and appointed panels and has worked to raise public awareness on the horrendous effects of the aftermath of violent crime. Mary is truly a role model for the selfless and service to others. Her achievements, sacrifices, and contributions to victims of crime have been recognized at both state and national levels. Business and professional women's organizations throughout our country have made great strides by helping women to stay connected, build networks, explore careers, create successful workplaces, and be informed of important issues. Your contributions are best measured and articulated by your mission to achieve equality for all women in the workplace through advocacy, education, and information. And I believe that the two women here today have achieved that mission. I am honored to join your family and friends in extending my sincerest congratulations to Ruth Lockhart and Mary Farrar on receiving this prestigious honor. Sincerely, Susan M. Collins, United States Senator. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for reading her letter. We appreciate you being here, Michelle. And now we are pleased to have a letter from United States Representative Shelley Pingree and her staff assistant, Ski Frigie. I'm not sure of pronunciation. I'll let her do that. And please welcome Ski.
Thank you, Sally. Congresswoman Pingree sends her regrets that she can't be with all of us here today. And that said, sometimes I'm secretly glad that I get to be the one, in part, and particularly so today, because the women who are being honored represent the best and the brightest of work that I've also devoted my own life to over the years in terms of reproductive freedom and rights, as well as advocacy on behalf of victims of violence. Lois Reckett and I shared a history in the early days of the battered women's movement, so I'm pleased because these these two causes mean so much to me, and I am so aware of the strength and the commitment of these women. So I'm pleased to read a letter to each of you from the Congresswoman, starting with Mary. Dear Mary, congratulations on being inducted into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. I am pleased to have this opportunity to add my thanks for your many years of selfless work on behalf of the people of Maine. You've offered hope in the darkest hours, guidance when the ways were unclear, and compassion in the midst of pain. As an advocate, organizer, and educator, you have had many victories and supported hundreds of people with the resources to heal their wounds and restart their lives. I know that victim advocacy comes with its share of heartache, pain, and frustration, and yet you have shown a rare courage to move people from victim to survivor to thriver, solid in the knowledge of ongoing support and advocacy. The fact that you have continued to work so hard and for so long speaks not only to your incredible strength and compassion, but to some deep reserve of unquenchable fire. Only you know what it is and from where it comes, but the victims who have drawn warmth and light there, as well as everyone here today, are eternally grateful for it. Congratulations again, Mary, for receiving this well-deserved honor. Best wishes, Shelley Pingree, Member of Congress. Ruth, congratulations. I wish you all the best as you accept your place in the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. Well-earned recognition after many years dedicated to ensuring that women and families across Maine have control of their reproductive health and rights. I don't have to tell you how important your work is or how challenging it is. I applaud your unswerving commitment to creating a world where health education and services are provided, promoted, and protected, and where communities come together in support of health and in opposition to violence and intimidation. The Mabel Wadsworth Women's Health Center has given thousands of women health care when they needed it most, including access to contraception and safe abortion, life-saving AIDS education, and health services for lesbian women. I share in your belief that quality, affordable reproductive and sexual health care creates healthier women and stronger families, that the conscience protections that matter most are for those of the health consumer, not the employer, that sexual health education for young people supports positive relationships, disease prevention, and planned pregnancies, and that women, families, and physicians, not politicians, should make private, personal decisions about childbearing. Like you, the issue of reproductive rights has been debated all of my adult life. I take solace in the words of our fellow Mainer, Harriet Beecher Stowe. When you get in a tight place and everything goes against you till it seems as though you could not hold on a minute longer, never give up. Then, for that is just the place and the time that the tide will turn. Maine is much the better place as a result of your courage and your unfailing commitment to the people of this state. Thank you, Ruth, for all your years that you have put your beliefs into action, holding out and carrying on until the tide turns. You have traversed a difficult and extraordinarily important path with respect and grace, building bridges instead of burning them, and always using the health and safety of Maine women as your guide. Thank you so much. Shelley, please.
Very impressive letters from our member of Congress, and we really appreciate our male being here to join us and taking time to be with us so many years. We really appreciate your support. And now I'd like to explain a little bit about the Hall of Fame. It was established in 1990, and nominations are requested each year and are submitted by a variety of organizations, businesses, and individuals. An independent panel of judges review the nominations with careful consideration, select one or two honorees each year to be inducted. A Hall of Fame is dedicated to women who have met 3 specific criteria. 1, the woman's achievement had had a significant statewide impact. 2, the woman's achievement significantly improved the lives of women in Maine. And 3, the woman's contribution has enduring value for women. The National Women's Hall of Fame was established in Seneca Falls, New York. In 1990, BPW Maine, the BPW Maine past state presidents founded the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. Many past state presidents were involved in different degrees. This year, we are honoring 2 Maine women into induction for the Hall of Fame. Mary Farrar, victim witness advocate since 1990. She was nominated by Allison Hughes Hanley, President, University of Maine here at Augusta. And Ruth L. Lockhart, co-founder and executive director of the Mayfield Wadsworth Women's Health Center. She was nominated by Sharon Barker of Bangor, director of the Women's Resource Center, University of Maine, and our 2009 inductee in the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. The induction ceremony for Mary Farrar will now begin. It is with pleasure that I ask her and her representatives to come forward. The moderator for this presentation is Denise Giles, Victim Service Coordinator from the Maine Department of Corrections. With those people on the stage now, please join our audience.
I'm Denise Giles, and I have been a friend and colleague of Mary Farrar for a good 23, 24 years. And so I was very touched and honored when she asked me to come and perform the task of moderator this afternoon. Our first speaker is going to be Dr. Allison Hughes Hanley, who nominated Mary. Dr. Hanley was appointed as president of the University of Maine at Augusta on March 1st, 2008. Previously, she served as Senior Policy Advisor for Post-Secondary Economic Development Initiatives at the Kentucky Council on Post-Secondary Education, and also as Secretary of the Kentucky Governor's Executive Cabinet. Dr. Hanley earned her BA from the University of Western Ontario and holds master's and doctoral degrees in education from the Johns Hopkins University. Dr. Hanley served as president of Coghill College, located in Sunnyvale, California, and was the first female president of Midway College, Kentucky's only women's college. While at National University, Dr. Hanley served as the vice president for university advancement and dean of the School of Education and Human Services. Dr. Hanley has held faculty appointments at the Johns Hopkins University, McGill University, the University of San Diego, National University, and Spalding University. A member of the International Women's Forum, Dr. Hanley has also been a Rotarian since 1991 and a Quanon since 2008. I believe that's a member of the Quanon. Dr. Hanley serves on the board of the Kennebec Valley Chamber of Commerce, the Maine Higher Education Council, and is chair of the board of the Maine Mathematics and Science Alliance. Please welcome Dr. Hanley.
Life after death is generally considered to be the province of prophets and preachers. But for almost 20 years, it was also the province of one stay-at-home mom, former bank teller, and substitute teacher by the name of Mary Farrar. For Mary, though, life after death was not about what happens to someone after he or she dies, but rather what happens to those who are left behind, and left behind due to the most tragic of circumstances. In 1990, Mary applied to work in the Somerset County's District Attorney's Office as an advocate for victims of crime. After 6 years of tremendous work, she was hired by the Attorney General's office as a victim witness advocate to work closely with families of homicide victims. The work Mary did was incredibly difficult. Families who lose a loved one by way of murder feel completely shattered and powerless. They are frustrated and angry and feel lost in a criminal justice system where no one feels more strongly than they do about the events, and yet has less control on the outcome. For nearly 2 decades, it was Mary's job to help these family members and friends through this tremendously challenging time in their lives, grieving with them, explaining the court process, holding their hands through it, and then helping them to rebuild their lives and move on. Mary, no doubt, was great at her job for many reasons, but a key one was that she herself lost a brother to a murder in a holdup at her family's business. Mary learned the hard way what was missing then for her and her family as they aimlessly struggled to get through those very worst of times. Thankfully, for similar victimized families in Maine, Mary was able to take what she has personally learned to help them through the aftermath and then get past it. Also active in Maine's chapter of the organization Parents of Murdered Children, Mary's excellent work did not go unnoticed, where this past August, the National Parent Organization awarded her with the Distinguished Father Ken Zillinger Award. The award goes to an extraordinary professional who has shown understanding and support to survivors of homicide through various means. Mary certainly has her fans at the national level, but no one loves her more than the Maine families she has helped and supported over the years. They are not all women, of course, but so many of them are, of every age, from the youngest daughter to the middle-aged widow to the mature grandmother. Perhaps there are some better-known names in the Maine Women's Hall of Fame, but Mary's incredible work stands up to all of them. And while she may be neither a prophet nor a preacher, she has worked her own share of miracles. And there are more than a few who just downright worship Mary Farrar. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Henley. Every word is true. Our next speaker is Deborah Cunningham. She's an assistant manager of the Weave Room for True Textiles in Guilford, Maine. She is a former elected tax assessor of the town of Garland. Deb has done community work as an advisor and volunteer for Totally Teens, an after-school program for at-risk adolescents. Deb has a combined family with Arthur Jetty. Together they have 5 children and 9 grandchildren. Deb is a survivor of murder victim Trevin Cunningham, 21 months old, and Mindy Elizabeth Angel Gould, 20 years old. Deb's daughter Cassie's very best friend, and the young woman Deb loves very much. Deb is also a board member of the Maine chapter of Parents of Murdered Children. Deb lives in Cambridge, Maine.
Good afternoon, President Henley, Ms. Parks, and distinguished guests. Let me start by saying that Mary Farrar is one of the most amazing, giving, loving, kindred spirits I have ever known. There are so many reasons why I love this woman. With that said, please know that either one of us, I am confident that Mary would agree with us, would give up the wonderful friendship if it meant we could have our loved ones back. The path that we both walked is so bittersweet. We paid a huge price to know each other in the way that we do. I was broken, frightened, and unsure of what the future was to bring on the day that Mary came into my life. Our family was in pain and feeling desperate. Mary walked into my kitchen just 2 days after the murders of our loved ones with open arms and an open heart. When this little woman with the biggest heart and the most compassion in her eyes I have ever seen walked in, she didn't push her way in. She came in confidently, ready to help. Members of both Trevin and Mindy's members of both Trevin's and Mindy's families were crammed around our dining room table. As she stood there introducing herself, why she was there, what could be done, what needed to be done, I found myself reassured that here was someone we could count on. She was able to explain what was available to us, how she could be our connection with the judicial system and other victims' rights issues. Oh, the way we hammered her with questions in those first days. In no time at all, this tiny, nurturing stranger seemed like part of the family. She looked at family pictures. She listened to every story. Mary cried with us, laughed with us, got angry with us, and became a huge part of our families in the days to follow. When she said she was a phone call away, she meant it. I remember her protectiveness, the way she was always thinking ahead for us. I also remember during the endless hearings and trials, the mint she always carried in her pockets, and how she always made sure that there was a tissue box handy. She always seemed to be sitting by the person who needed her the most that day, with her hand on their shoulder or holding their hand. She listened to our needs while explaining details we may not have understood. She always made sure that my mom, 4'9", she was 4'9" tall, woman, had a seat so her view was never obstructed. I wonder how she knew that might be a problem. You can't imagine the personality mix in our families. Combined with the unreality of the situation, most people would have said, there's no way I can deal with this much drama. Not our Mary. She calmed the most anxious of us and consoled the most broken for that day. One of the most amazing things that she did was help us to understand the courtroom etiquette. A family like ours never would have made it without her. She warned us of what an outburst could do to the court hearings and procedures. She stood fast and was so rigorously honest. Mary would say things like, sure, you can do that if you want to get kicked out of the proceedings. Just try to imagine the angry, sad, anxious, emotions over intelligence kind of people that Mary was dealing with at this time in our lives. Every one of us had the utmost respect for her because of the honest way she treated us. I know for sure that this special person made us feel loved. She talked about our loved ones like they mattered as much to her and that they were the most important people who ever lived. Whenever the proceedings became confusing or something would stump us, all we had to do was see Mary, and she would explain whatever was asked. She kept us connected to the Office of the Attorney General and the Maine State Police detectives. All we needed to do was just ask the question or give our concerns to Mary, and she would go discuss these things and come back with the answers. She always knew when we needed that one-on-one discussion with them and always made that happen. It's not hard to find words to explain how important she is to us. Mary is important not only to my family, but so many families across the state of Maine. Our group, the Maine chapter of Parents of Murdered Children, is so blessed to have someone like her. Mary is someone who is able to reach out to others, to help them at the meeting table, while sharing the pain of her own loss. She was and always will be our angel. She is still at our side. She is always fighting the good fight, always reaching out her hand to help. This journey has been difficult. Without Mary, some of us would have not made it. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mandy Farrar. Mandy is a Maine licensed forester and a licensed Maine guide who works for Staffy Pine Paper in Skowhegan, Maine. She has a BA in History and an MS in Forest Management from the University of Maine in Orono. She spends most of her free time outside climbing mountains or flying through whitewater. Mandy is also an awesome Ironman triathlon athlete. Mandy lives in Kennebec.
Well, it's an honor to be here today to see my mother inducted into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame, and for amazing work she did with victims of violent crimes, with survivors of violent crimes. People have often asked me what Mom did for work when I was in school, and it was always really hard for me to describe, and because she just does so much. And the best description I ever saw of her, or read of her, is in an article written in the Bangor Metro by Sheila Grant, and she described my mother as the best friend you hope you never meet. And I think that's really good because, you know, you really didn't want to you didn't want to need her, but if you needed her, the families who needed her were so thankful they had her, and because they soon found out they had a tireless fighter by their side. And I mean fighter. Don't mess with Mom. My mother's a 4'10" powerhouse who would be willing to take on Mike Tyson. 4'10½". Who would be willing to take on Mike Tyson if he was getting between one of her families and the services that they needed. The other thing about Mom, there's no 99% with Mary Farrar. There's only 300%. Mom puts her heart and soul into every single thing she does. Even when she's supporting me at my Ironman, I was in Ironman Lake Placid this year, and she was cheering with everything she had and trying to outdo all the other people who were cheering, you know. But it's no surprise that she puts everything she had into her families. In fact, I don't believe she realizes the number of people in the state that she has guided through the darkness of grief, helping them learn how to live after unimaginable tragic loss. You know, it takes a really special person to come into a family at the worst time in their lives and deliver what is often excruciating information and come out years later a friend. And I think a testament to that is, and many people in this audience right now are some of my mom's families. And they're still her friends, and they're still her families. And you notice I keep calling them her families, and I guess that's what they are. I mean, they're her families, not, it was a personal investment for her, and she put that into everything she did, and I think that's what made her stand out as an advocate. She truly cares about her families, and it wasn't only a job for Mom, this was, and I think still is, her passion, and that's why she was so good at it. So congratulations, Mom. I'm really proud of you. I'm so proud of your daughter.
From that fine presentation, I'm sure you all understand why we are honoring her today for induction in the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. And Mary, would you please come forward? At this time, I would like to present you with a certificate honoring your induction in the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. The Maine Federation of Business and Professional Women, the BPW Maine Futurama Foundation, the University of Maine at Augusta, present the 23rd Annual Maine Women's Hall of Fame Award to Mary Farrar, nominated by Allison Hughes Handley, President, University of Maine at Augusta, presented the March 17, 2012 at the University of Maine at Augusta, signed Allison Handley, University of Maine at Augusta, Rhonda Crossan, BPW Maine, and Marie E.Z. Saucier, the BPW Maine Futurama Foundation. Congratulations. Thank you.
The second wow moment I've had this week. Good afternoon, everyone. Before I begin, I have several people I'd like to thank. I want to express my personal thank you to Dr. Allison Hughes Handley, President, University of Maine at Augusta, for nominating me and for being part of my program today. I would also like to thank Maine Federation of Business and Professional Women, the BPW Maine Futurama Foundation, and the University of Maine at Augusta for selecting me to be the 2012 inductee to the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. I would like to extend a very special thank you to Sally Ann Parks, wherever you are, there you are, of the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. Your direction and assistance through the preparation of this event was indispensable. I would also like to extend my gratitude to Denise Giles, Deb Cunningham, and Mandy Farrar for agreeing to be part of my program today. I am overwhelmed with your heartfelt and generous remarks. You are all amazing women, and I thank you. I feel privileged and humbled to be the recipient of this prestigious honor. There are no words that can express my gratitude. I was one of many women who were nominated for this great honor. Each of them are worthy of this recognition for the important professional work that they do. I am so fortunate to have been selected this year for induction along with Ruth Lockhart. Congratulations, Ruth. It is truly an honor to be included and inducted along with so many phenomenal and outstanding women. I can't even imagine being in the Maine Women's Hall of Fame with the likes of Senator Margaret Chase Smith. I am thrilled. Today is a validation of more than 20 years' work as a victim witness advocate and my service to crime victims and the Maine state government. I have been so fortunate that my vocation became my passion. Adding to this special day is that it is also Women's History Month. The 2012 National Women's History Month theme is Women's Education, Women's Empowerment. My comments today will reflect the importance of education, empowerment, and victim advocacy, and the way I believe it is crucial that as professional victim advocates, we do what we can to level the scales of justice for crime victims' rights. It takes tenacity and perseverance. Art Jetty, a very wise and dear friend and extended family member, once said to me, "We have a criminal justice system. What we need is a victim justice system." This is an attainable goal. The victims movement has made great strides in expanding victims' rights. We need to continue to move forward. Every year, the Maine legislature reviews hundreds of bills. Sooner or later, there are bills that are introduced for the benefit of convicted perpetrators. For example, last year, there was an initiative to bring back parole. If this bill would have passed through committee and then enacted into law, it would have had a catastrophic impact on crime victims and a financial consequence on the taxpayers of the state of Maine. As advocates, we have to continuously watch over legislation and be aware of how it will affect crime victims. The perpetrator's rights seem limitless. Clearly, there's a need for change. I would encourage all professionals to listen to the victims. After all, they are the experts in explaining to you what their needs are and the problems they face. It is also important to recognize that family and friends of murder victims don't recover from what they have experienced in the aftermath of a homicide. They develop instead an ability to survive the unpredictable waves of emotional and horrific pain that can evolve through them without warning. My brother Billy was murdered in 1974. There were no victim rights. My family was completely disregarded by the prosecuting agency and was never informed about any pending court proceedings. Only after...
I'm really pleased to be here today for this very special occasion. I really congratulate you, Mary, on the good that you've done in the world. I'm sure that you're not only very important to the people you've touched directly, but just set a standard in the state of Maine for how we really care about people. And I really appreciate your contributions. I've known Ruth for 50 years. And we actually grew up together in Aroostook County. So I've been able to kind of watch her life and her evolution through a lot of different times. And one of the things that I thought of today when I got up here is I wonder how Ruth holds her breath until she figures out which eras I'm going to cover and what exactly I'm going to tell her. I have nothing but admiration, love, and for Ruth Lockhart. And what I want to say, we're going to be hearing from some other presenters about some more specifics about the work she's done and the contributions she's made to the state of Maine, and particularly to the women of Maine. But I want to just share with you that throughout her life and throughout the very thing that she's done, I've seen some commonalities that have been extended throughout all of those efforts. First and foremost, Ruth loves her family. It's always uppermost in her mind. And she has such warmth and love for the people that she calls her own. She's a very, very generous friend and very loyal. In fact, she approaches her life with a generosity of spirit that I think really sets a standard. She's humble. hardworking, very, very bright, and has the capacity to rise to any challenge that's presented to her. I've just been so pleased to be a part of her life and so privileged to be able to watch the way that she's developed as a woman, as a human being, and just can't wait to see what's left as we become old ladies together. When I decided to take this role, I said that the reason why I really wanted to be the moderator is that I would get to speak first, middle, and last. Because it would be almost impossible for me to summarize in any succinct way the admiration that I feel for Ruth, or even the many, many accomplishments that she has experienced in both her personal life and her professional life. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce two women who will talk to you about her accomplishments and what she means to them in the state. The first speaker is Joanne Dauphiny. Joanne is from Bangor, and Bangor just would not be the place it is today if it hadn't had Joanne's constant presence through the years. She's a unique individual. She has always, always been out in front when it comes to any kind of human rights. The issues and the causes that she champions, she has great foresight and frequently jumps out in front to advocate for people who can't advocate for themselves, and just consistently has done that as long as I've known her, which has been a long time. She is the best source I know for the history of the accomplishments of women in Maine, and she is currently working on a video history of feminism in the state of Maine, which is already a great treasure for us. She serves on the board of directors for Mabel Wadsworth Center and has been a colleague in many, many great causes for a long time. And I'm very pleased to introduce Joanne Dauphiny.
Thank you, Sharon. It won't come as a surprise to anyone who knows Ruth Lockhart that she's a fan of Wonder Woman. She's a bit of a Wonder Woman herself. Long before I really knew Ruth, I knew that she and her pal Sharon were doing a lot of the heavy lifting to get a feminist women's health center established in Bangor. Even in a town that had a thriving feminist community in the 70s and 80s, that seemed a daunting task to me. Of course, the story is now legend, how with no money, no physical location, no affiliations, honestly, through the sheer power of repeating the dream as often as possible to whoever would listen, they made the dream come true. I would see Ruth over the years doing a press interview, giving a talk, or facilitating one of Mabel's Health in Our Hands conferences. In the 1990s, I came to admire her even more when I represented now on the Cures Project, Communities United for Reproductive Safety, her quiet courage and her tension-breaking humor. And just when I thought I could not be more impressed with Ruth, I've had the honor of serving for several years on the board of the Mabel Wadsworth Women's Health Center. This woman serves on every committee. No, I don't mean she just shows up. I mean she serves on every committee. Through all the years, Ruth guided her growing group of loyal followers, like the Pied Piper, on what seemed like a magical grassroots adventure, from flyers on the trunk of her car to arguably the most amazing feminist women's health center on earth. It says a lot about Ruth that almost everyone connected to the center considers it our center. It says a lot about Ruth that when she is needed or wanted, she always steps up. And that even when no one is watching, Ruth has never been content to just go so far and then rest. Ruth has not been content to rest until she can bring to fruition as much of the dream as possible for as many women as possible. While each of the founders, including Sharon, brought their many extraordinary gifts to the project, When they hired Ruth Lockhart as executive director in 1992, that was their smartest decision. This founding member of the National Feminist Abortion Network is not content to play it safe. Having gained at some point considerable respect in many disparate corners, from governors and first ladies to frightened, pregnant, working-class gals, from lobbyists to healthcare providers, from activists, movers and shakers, to society's badly marginalized and despised. Ruth still reaches out to provide sexual and reproductive education, advocacy, and care, and a feminist platform to all women, even when she knows she'll bear the brunt of whatever controversy follows. In great measure, the center's success, however you measure it, is due to Ruth's determination, her wisdom, her charisma, her patience, her courage, and her vision. Sorry. It's not just a health center, though it provides everything from prenatal care to abortion care to menopause care. It's a true feminist center from which flow education, advocacy, and most importantly, the hope of an outstretched hand to many women who have at one time or another found themselves in need. I get so choked up. Again, I'm not talking just about women needing health care. I'm also talking about feminists and other women of all different stripes and types, including women in menopause, sexually active disabled women, lesbians, trans women, and women who are fat and proud, who turn to Ruth and to Mabel's with hopes and ideas of their own, and were unfailingly embraced, respected, trusted, and offered a platform for discussion. For the Center's 25th anniversary dinner, where Ruth was also honored, I video interviewed many of Ruth's family and friends, and a lot of people connected to the Center in various ways over the years. Some were extremely shy to be interviewed, but they did it for Ruth. Dozens of people, her dear friend and sister founder, Terry Marley DeRocha. From out of state, her son and her sister made a video they sent in, as did a former board member. Clients, board members, staff, current and former, other advocates and activists. There were so many, there was not time to interview them all. To a person, they spoke of her wonderful humor, her amazing generosity of time and treasure, her determination through injuries and illnesses, her graciousness, and her ability to rise to every occasion. Whether it was stepping up the fundraising, helping to launch a lesbian health project, reacting to the assassination of other providers, embracing a capital campaign, calling a press conference, securing more abortion providers for eastern and northern Maine, donning a bulletproof vest for Now Action in Portland in the mid-90s, chairing the Maine Choice Coalition, or warming up the crowd with her fun spirit and humor at Choice and Chocolate or other things. Ruth does it all, and Wonder Woman would have to eat her dust.
Our next speaker is Peaches Bass. Peaches has a pretty impressive legacy of her own. She's been an activist and an advocate for women since she was a teenager in Chicago a long time ago. Fortunately for all of us, she found her way to Maine, and she worked for a while in family planning, which is where Ruth and Peaches and I all became friends, was our work back in the 70s and 80s in family planning. Peaches is a very unique person, and she brings many special qualities to her work. She's also made a major imprint in a variety of initiatives in Maine. In addition to family planning and women's reproductive rights, she was one of the people that really had the most influence when AIDS came along, and really helped to shape the education and policy development of how Maine people treated AIDS and people with AIDS. Very, very worthy work. Lost her way for just a little bit and went to Colorado. Saw the error of her And most recently, in addition to providing her ongoing support for all of the different issues, particularly women and reproductive rights, she spends her time primarily these days working for economic justice for women, and does that work in an amazing way. She's well networked. She spends a lot of her time educating all of us, distributing material, providing analysis, and generally making just about every meeting she's at a great deal of fun. And so I'm really pleased to invite to the podium Peaches Bass.
Well, I just feel so privileged to be here. What a great group of people out there, not to mention Mary and Ruth. And I feel so blessed to know Ruth, and I am honored to be her friend and colleague. And it's also just a pleasure to have the opportunity to speak about her today. Ruth's presence in the Maine Women's Hall of Fame adds immeasurable grace to this pantheon of noteworthy women. Eloise, Lois, Sharon, Mary, and I bet more of you to come will be in this Hall of Fame someday. This is not going to really be a story about me. It's going to sound like it's a story about me. But, okay, so recently I went to a psychiatrist, and she wanted to do, the word association exercise. She says a word, a phrase. I'm supposed to say the first thing that comes into my mind, okay? So she says, laser focus on women's health. Immediately I say, Ruth Lockhart. She looks at me and she goes, unswerving commitment to the advancement of women. Just like that, I go, Ruth Lockhart. She goes, okay. She goes, champion of Maine girls and women's right to self-determination. Her phrases were getting longer, as you can see. But my answer remained the same. Ruth Lockhart. Best feminist health center boss in the world. No-brainer, Ruth Lockhart. And then she says, Maine Women's Hall of Fame. Ruth Lockhart. If she were instead to have just said to me, Ruth Lockhart, I would have said, one of the very smartest people I know, compassionate, warm-hearted, generous to a fault, dedicated to doing the right thing, dedicated to doing the best thing, a woman's woman, a role model, balanced, a well-rounded human being, worldly, great sense of humor. Oh, and one of the best shoppers on the planet. Ruth takes me shopping, then she buys stuff, and I don't. So, but in short, Ruth is the woman I want my daughters to be when they grow up. And frankly, she's the woman I want to be when I grow up. Ruth is the epitome of leadership and courage. The organization she has takes no government money. Not because they can't get it, but because they don't want it. Ruth is the public face of the uncompromising stand women need to take to preserve and advance our health and to maintain control, power over our own destinies. If you cannot afford or find contraception when you need it, health care when you need it, an abortion when you need it, you do not have control over your own life. And as we've been reminded in recent weeks, if you are relying on the government to help you pay for those services, you don't really have control over your own life. If you've ever visited the Mabel Wadsworth Women's Health Center and have seen the level of security it requires to keep the women safe, the women who work there,
many of whom are here today, as well as the women who come for services, many of whom are probably here today. If you see that level of security, then you know the risk that Ruth and her employees run so that you, me, my mom, your mom, our daughters, our sisters, our friends, can control our own lives and our own futures. Inducting Ruth Lockhart into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame is not just a recognition of this fabulous, awesome woman's contributions to Maine women. It's a recognition that in times like now, when rich and politically powerful people, civic leaders, media giants can unashamedly assault our characters, our lives, and our collective womanhood, Ruth Lockhart is our line in the sand. I am grateful to know that she has my back and yours. And I want to thank the BPW for inducting her into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. Ruth, congratulations.
This is just such a worthy tribute, and I just feel so privileged and blessed to be up here. But I have felt that way for my entire life, for being such a good friend with Ruth Lockhart. She's brought so much to my life. She's part of my family. In fact, in many circles, she's known as the fourth Barker sister. There's a lot of rumors going around that Ruth and I are partners. And although we all both have partners at home, we are frequently together because we share so many of the same values and beliefs and commitments. And I look to her all the time for advice, for confidence, for backup. The time I spend with Ruth is some of the most stimulating intellectual time that I have. And I really believe this woman is an exceptional gift to us all. Seeing the faces in this audience of the people who've come to pay tribute to Ruth is another testimony to just the impact she has on so many lives. So congratulations, Ruth. You well deserve this honor, and we're very privileged to have you in our community.
We are honoring two great women here today, and she is definitely another one that deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And I would like to ask you to please come forward, Ruth, and present to you this award, the Business and Professional Women of Maine, the BPW Maine Futurama Foundation, and the University of Maine at Augusta present the 23rd Annual Maine Women's Hall of Fame Award to Ruth L. Lockhart, nominated by Sharon Barker, Director of Women's Resource Center, University of Maine, and a 2009 inductee in the Maine Women's Hall of Fame, presented March 17, 2012 at University of Maine at Augusta. Allison Handler, University of Maine, the Augusta President, Rhonda L. Crossan, BPW Maine Co-President, and Marie Saucier, BPW Maine Futurama Foundation President. Congratulations.
Thanks for coming. First, I have to tell you about this. Well, I have to tell you about both of them. This was given to me by the organization as part of the honor tonight. I asked for an iris. They asked me what I wanted, and I said an iris because that's the logo of Naval Wadsworth Women's Health Center. This is a corsage made for me by Becky Pease, who is Naval Wadsworth's granddaughter. And these flowers, these are geraniums, and this is Mabel's plant. And Becky, it must be in bloom. And it means a great deal to me. I remember Mabel tending her own geranium before it was handed over to Becky after Mabel's death. So, Becky, thank you so much. Thank you to Maine Business and Professional Women, to the Futurama Foundation, and to the University of Maine at Augusta for creating the Maine Women's Hall of Fame, and for the annual reminder of Maine women's contributions to the betterment of all people. Thank you to Sally Ann Parks, an extraordinary woman, the woman behind the curtain, for her stewardship of the Women's Hall of Fame. Thank you to Mary Farrar for her selflessness and courage and determination. Thank you, of course, to my dear friends, my gang, Joanne and Peaches and Sharon, for nominating me for this honor and for their kind remarks. Thank you to Terry Marley DeRozier, Phil Warden, Mabel Wadsworth, and Sharon for co-conspiring with me to create Mabel Wadsworth Women's Health Center. Thank you to my family members who have supported me all along the way. Thank you for coming. Of course, a special thank you to Peter, my husband of 32 years, who has been a loving and steadfast supporter of my becoming the best I can be. And thanks to all of you again for being here. You're the best. My first visit to the Hall of Fame, Maine Women's Hall of Fame, was in 1990 when it was established, when Mabel signed Wadsworth, my very special friend and mentor, and Margaret Chase Smith were the first inductees. Since then, the cast of women has grown to include so many women of quality, women who have worked hard for the causes they care about, women who are examples of the best that Maine can offer. We should see this ceremony as an honoring of all Maine women. Maine women are the kindest, toughest, strongest, and smartest in the land. When we band together in the interest of ourselves and others, we are unstoppable. And that's our best strength. The natural coalitions we form, the working together, the blending of our voices into one. My journey to here has been filled with good friends, good co-workers, good mentors, and lots of good women. I have done nothing alone, and that's not false modesty. That's the truth. I was lucky to grow up with Sharon Barker's love, friendship, and confidence supporting me in almost every step of my life. 50 years of friendship is an unusual accomplishment in itself. I would not be here, and Mabel Wadsworth Women's Health Center would not have existed without her vision and her power. I am grateful to Sharon for many things, not the least of which is my relationship with Mabel. Sharon introduced the two of us, and Mabel and I enjoyed a wonderful and close friendship for many years. I am so honored to have Sharon here today, and honored to be placed in the same Hall of Fame as Sharon and Mabel. Yeah. You may have noticed that the times we live in are not especially welcoming to women these days. In the public discourse, women themselves have been replaced by images and discussions of female body parts, especially breasts and uteruses. This is not new. What is new is the volume and extent of disrespect we are hearing. And let me be clear, it's not the disrespect that's new. It's the tone of the conversation, the vitriolic expressions of disrespect, and the widespread messages that tell us that women's lives are of lesser importance, and that autonomy and control over our own bodies does not belong to us. The real lives of women as human beings have been overlooked by obvious attempts to keep us down and in our place. But the opposite has happened. This has all worked to galvanize us as women. And of special note, the young women that some feared were too silent and too complacent to speak up, stepped up. I am not worried that the cause of feminism, assuring true equality for all women and men, will recede. I have had the privilege of working with many, many amazing younger women, lots of them here today. And I'm confident they will continue the work into the future. Attacks on women, name-calling, deliberate degradation and denigration of our humanity, all this gives us all the more reason to celebrate our achievements. All the more reason to stand tall and speak out. All the more reason to seek out and join with others and to celebrate each other and all of us at the same time. To close, as I often do, I am going to read you a poem by Marge Piercy called The Low Road. What can they do to you? Whatever they want. They can set you up, they can bust you, they can break your fingers, they can burn your brain with electricity, blur you with drugs till you can't walk, can't remember. They can take your child, wall up your lover. They can do anything you can't stop them from doing. How can you stop them? Alone, you can fight. You can refuse, you can take what revenge you can, but they roll over you. But two people fighting back to back can cut through a mob. A snake dancing file can break a cordon. An army can meet an army. Two people can keep each other sane, can give support, conviction, love, massage, hope, sex. Three people are a delegation, a committee, a wedge. With four, you can play bridge and start an organization. With six, you can rent a whole house, eat pie for dinner with no seconds, and hold a fundraising party. A dozen make a demonstration, 100 fill a hall. 1,000 have solidarity in your own newsletter. 10,000 power in your own paper. 100,000 your own media. 10 million your own country. It goes on one at a time. It starts when you care to act. It starts when you do, and when you do it again and they said no. It starts when you say we and know what you mean, and each day you mean one more. Thank you so much for this.
He's in the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. Congratulations to you both. And we appreciate all that you both have done for women and girls in the state of Maine. And we want to thank you again for all the information that is presented about you, so that everybody knows our newest inductees a little better. Also, thank you to all the individuals and businesses that support the Maine Women's Hall of Fame, and the BPW Maine Futurama Foundation. Generous contributions were made in honor of both our inductees and other people, and just donations to the Hall of Fame and the foundation itself. Those that were received by March 10th are listed in our program booklet. Any monies donated in honor are used to augment our scholarship program through the BPW Maine Futurama Foundation. Each year we give out 8 $1,200 scholarships to high school senior girls and women attending college. So if some of you didn't get a chance to make a donation earlier, we'd like to make one now for our scholarship program. Please feel free to get an envelope from the table where you signed in for the registration. Remember, the logo for our Hall of Fame is honoring the past, which we have been doing here this afternoon, and we want to inspire the future before we finish, so that we can have more women to induct in the future in our Hall of Fame. We appreciate the University of Maine at Augusta for sharing with us in the co-sponsorship of this event and for being with us for all the 23 years, the Facilities Department here at UMA, and the sponsors of both of our inductees who participated in the induction ceremony this afternoon, the judges, the special committees for the Hall of Fame, including the Silver Tea. This event would not be possible without all the hard work of everyone involved. And we appreciate all of you joining us here this afternoon in honoring our 2 inductees for the 23rd Maine Women's Hall of Fame. We trust that you've had an enjoyable afternoon, that you will inform others about the Maine Women's Hall of Fame and the work of the BPW Maine Futurama in providing educational scholarships for Maine women. This special ceremony is held annually on the 3rd Saturday in March. Nominations are distributed in early fall and are completed by the deadline of December 1st. It is not too early now to begin thinking of some deserving woman, maybe somebody here this afternoon, that you would like to nominate for our 24th induction ceremony in 2013. You may let me know that you would like to receive a nomination form, and I'd be glad to see that you have one. And I would like to thank you again for joining us this afternoon to honor our 2 newest inductees. And when you leave, if you could just leave the name badges up back, and we'll use them again next year. We'll just save the names. Who knows, you may be with us again then. I mean, we'll be all right out. You know, we want to save, keep green, not keep cutting down trees. I hope that you all had an enjoyable afternoon. We were pleased to have all of you here. Have a safe drive home and plan to join us again next year. Thank you.